sure everything's good.
Yep.
I feel like we do this every single time. So, like, we're not really getting a good intro. But I'd rather make sure the stream's up on YouTube.
That's what matters. It's up and running.
It is?
Yep.
Yeah, I just got to. Alright, welcome, y'all. You just saw our Week 18. If you just watched our Week 18, this is going to be the outcomes of whatever our Week 18 predictions were. So, we'll get this started. I believe, you guys just want to do AFC stuff, and then we'll get into whatever the NFC drama is, because we all have the same AFC.
Yep.
Want to do that?
That should work.
I think that would be good. Alright, so, Josh, you can start us off. We all have Browns, Jags. That's our 5-4, or 4-5 going against each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, who's ever at this spot, I think that the Browns are going to beat them. They've just looked so dominant with Joe Flacco. We'll talk about him later with comeback player of the year and stuff. So, but this team for the Browns has just been so weird, but so good at the same time. So I'm so excited to see them in playoffs. They're going to beat the Jags or the Texans. Whoever comes in their way, they're beating. So give me the Browns here. Zach?
I also have the Browns, but I'll talk more about Joe Flacco right now. Dude, that dude is him. Holy, I don't say a lot of quarterbacks are him, but he is him for a backup. Bro, he should have been starting week 1. But they claimed him off of waivers. That was the best move the Browns have made in their entire career. And that's saying something, because the Browns have not made too many good moves in their entire time being a team. Jags they're just not healthy too. Like, they're getting healthy at the right time, but it's too late. They don't have momentum. Jags have a major momentum going into this game. They can rest their starters too, so they're going to be better off. The defense is looking like a lockdown defense. They're going to make a deep run in my predictions probably. So I have Browns. All right, Jack.
I have to go Browns. I know this is kind of looked at an upset because the Jags are at home, but that's just because the Ravens happen to be the best team. But, like, the Browns, this team, despite major, like, obviously Deshaun Watson wasn't playing good, but he still got hurt. Nick Chubb, obviously out for the year. That was huge. But they don't seem to miss a beat. And ever since they got their new DC and they've traded for Za'Darius Smith, their defense has been flying around. It's been one of the best, if not the best unit in the league. So their defense has been playing well. Amari Cooper is like breaking out with Joe Flacco. This is just a crazy story, all things considered. Joe Flacco literally comes off the street in like October. He's like, okay, I'll try to play for you guys. And then he just dominates the whole season, locking up the wild card a week before. This is without your starting quarterback, your starting running back, numerous key positions missing, including both starting tackles and the backup tackle. Doswin Jones, I think his name was, that was playing pretty good, and then he got hurt too. And they're still moving. But ultimately, I'm really confident they're going to be able to make some noise potentially. I think they can get past the Jags. This team slid. This team lost 4 in a row, and they shook it off against a really bad Panthers team. But ultimately, everyone's still a little banged up. They don't feel like they're as strong as they were last year, even though they're technically the AFC South Division champions. I think the Browns are going to get to them and beat them on the road.
Cool. So our next matchup is going to be the Dolphins versus the Chiefs. So the 3-seed Chiefs going against the 6-seed Dolphins. You know what? Yeah, Jack, go ahead.
This one is tough. Obviously, we see the Dolphins lose to Buffalo Week 18 in our scenario. But, like, if I looked at this Chiefs team is so potentially, they're fraudulent. They're going to get exposed at some point. But then I look at the Dolphins and I also debate, I feel like they're also low-key kind of fraudulent too. So it's kind of like a coin toss at this point. I'm going to give the slightest edge to the Chiefs just because I'd be super surprised to see Mahomes drop in the wild card round, even though I do think they're going to get their face beat up by whoever the heck they run into in the second round. I just don't trust this Dolphins team is going to be playoff ready going into Arrowhead. The Chiefs defense has been their saving grace. I think that it's going to be a slower game than people expect. The Chiefs were able to shut them down in Germany, and I think they're going to be able to do it one more time in a really close game. I can definitely see the Dolphins coming out on top, but for now, I'm going to give the slight edge to the Chiefs here. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I gotta go with the Dolphins here. Even though that the Chiefs are the 3rd seed and they're playing at Arrowhead, the Dolphins, I believe, will just show the Chiefs as fraudulent because even though they're missing a lot of key starters, that offense, you still can't do anything with them with Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert, once he gets back, and Jalen Waddle once he gets healthy, along with Tyreek Hill. That team is lethal with weapons. So if they can just score more than the Chiefs, and especially with the drop issues that Mahomes has been experiencing all year with his receivers, this game seems like the Dolphins' game that they could upset. Zach?
I have the Chiefs, but you guys didn't mention like a glaring thing. The Chiefs are resting all their starters this week, like week 18. So going into a playoff matchup where the Dolphins just have to go through the Bills, which was a bet, if it's gonna be what I'm betting, it's gonna be a really hard game. So the Dolphins are going to be like pretty tired because they had a game plan around the Bills. The Chiefs are not game planning for the Chargers. They're just probably going to lose. It's okay. Like they're game planning for whoever they get in the wild card round. So I think that basically them having a bye week this week in week 18 will lead them to a win. Like right when the wild card games are starting, because they've had a week to plan whoever they're going against, which is either like what is it, Texans, Dolphins, Steelers, or that's it. Like they just have to plan around those three teams, and they've gone against a couple of those teams a couple years back. So I think the Chiefs are winning it. All right, our last matchup: Bills Texans. Josh, you can go ahead because this is your team.
I gotta go with the Buffalo Bills here, especially with how the Texans have fared in outdoor stadiums this year, from playing in a dome in Houston. They do not do well in the climate. The Bills are just looking so good. They're playing at their home, and CJ, I feel like he's just gonna sputter out here, make some rookie mistakes against this veteran core and lose it. So it's not gonna be a bad season for the Texans. We weren't supposed to be here, but the Bills are gonna be moving. So I'm gonna hand this off to Jack.
I think I have to go with the Bills. You cannot deny that what the Houston Texans did this season was pretty incredible. Rookie C.J. Stroud, rookie Tank Dell, second-year Nico. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of this core is very young, and they're just starting in the NFL. And the fact that they came in with being one of the worst teams in the league last year, they flipped it around year one. Nico's defense showed up. Stroud's done an amazing job. And getting to the playoffs is a great accomplishment. But ultimately, going into Buffalo, it's going to be cold. It could be snowing. There's a lot of weather factors. Josh Allen, this is his home. Buffalo, he's got a very experienced playoff quarterback. He's been a couple years. He wins a playoff game at least every year. It's going to be a very uphill battle for this Texans team. Not to mention, they're still banged up. Their young core is not their full strength. And while I think they're going to be back next year and could potentially make a lot more noise, here it's just really hard to ask such a young team to go into such a hostile environment with still a little banged up. I think I'm going to have to give it to the Bills. What are your thoughts, Zach?
Yeah, Texans are really banged up. Watching that Titans game last night was not the best. The Texans can't make those mistakes when they make the playoffs, and I believe that this team is too young. They have a first-year head coach, first-year quarterback. This is going to be really hard. Injuries, you can start to notice that they're starting to take a toll on the Texans. We noticed it in last game. We noticed it probably 2 weeks ago also. This is not the Texans team from 3 weeks ago. If it was 3 weeks ago and we were doing Bills-Texans, I may have taken the Texans. But Bills they've gone hot at the right time. Texans are dealing with a lot of injuries, especially on the O-line and their wide receivers. It's a bad scenario because if the Texans are fully healthy, this could be so different. And defensively, I believe that some of their secondary pieces are injured. Will Anderson's dealing with a high ankle sprain. It's just it's great that you guys made it here, but sadly the Texans are probably going to lose. And I think it's going to be close, but I don't think the Texans are going to be able to keep up with the Bills. So, yeah. All right, now we're going to go to the NFC side. We all have the same matchup for the first one, which is the 4th seed Bucks going against the 5th seed Eagles. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, Jack, go ahead.
Ooh, this one's a tough one. I'm going to give the edge to the Eagles here. This may just be based on what they've been, not what they are. But the Bucks, this has been a good season for them, all things considered. We thought that Tom Brady leaving was going to destroy them, but based on our predictions, they came out better. They're one game better than they were with Brady, and Baker's resurgence has been good to watch. But I think the Eagles, I think they have a playoff mode that they can find. Going on the road must be frustrating. They're upset. They fumbled the division. They literally had that in the bag pretty easily. 2-game lead, and it sort of slipped through their fingers, and I think they're going to remember that. I think it's going to be competitive, but ultimately I think Philly's going to go on the road. They're going to be able to take care of business against a Bucks team that we did not expect to be as good as this Eagles team this season. And I'm going to get the slightest edge to the Bucks, but I would not be or not the Bucks, to the Eagles, sorry. But I would not be surprised if the Bucks were potentially stole this game. But ultimately the Eagles are ready for this. They're going to win in this first round, in the wild card round. What are your thoughts, Zach?
This is an easy matchup. I think Eagles are winning. Eagles, even though they've had a weird, skid, I think the Eagles team is just so much better than this Bucks team. The Bucks have shown off a lot of potential, and they could be a really solid team in the coming, next 2 years. They can get, if they draft right. I just don't think it's their time right now, and I think this Eagles team, they're annoyed. They could have had the first seed a long time ago, and they kind of fumbled the bag, and now they're sitting at the 5th seed, and they're trying to win, hopefully, this matchup. So, I have the Eagles winning, though. Josh?
I gotta go with the Eagles here because the Bucks, as much as this has been a great year for them, Baker's had a great resurgence. The Eagles have gone on a skid and are here based on circumstances, based on their control. But at the end of the day, they still have had a really good team this year, and I believe it's better than the Bucks. So I gotta go with the Eagles here.
Alright, cool. So our next matchups are really weird. I'll take my first one. I actually have a fun matchup, I think. The 3 seed Lions are going to go against the 6 seed Rams. Matthew Stafford's going to go back to Ford Field, and I believe he's going to win at Ford Field. It doesn't seem that it's not like a home field advantage for the Lions if their old quarterback is on the other side. They're going to be Lions fans are going to want to cheer for Stafford. So I feel like the Rams, they're coming into the playoffs white hot too. There's not another team except for a couple, which I'll mention later in this stream, that could stop the Rams. They are really good right now, and I think that they could make the Super Bowl in a good run through. So I think that they get the win over the Lions in the wild card round. Jack and Josh, whoever wants to go. I know that you both have different matchups, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Jack, you can go ahead first.
All right. Let me get mine. I think mine is... Okay, mine is Rams-Lions. Stafford's revenge in Detroit. This is a good one. Ugh. Ultimately, I want the Lions to win because this season's meant so much. But this team is not... This team's young. They're not playoff polished like Stafford is. I mean, Stafford went on a Super Bowl run, 2 years ago? I think the Rams are going to go on the road here and they're going to win. This Rams team has been hot. Like Zach said, the passing game is deadly and it is explosive. And I wouldn't be surprised if this team could make a deep playoff run, and everyone's going to be surprised, but they could have easily won the division if they weren't in San Francisco's division. I think they're a sneaky team. I think they have experience that some of these other young teams in the playoffs don't necessarily have. I think they could take advantage of that, and I think they're going to go into Detroit, and I think they're going to shock them in their Lions' first time back in the playoffs in a while. So give me the Rams in that one. What are your thoughts on your matchup?
Sorry?
It's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah.
So, my matchup is the Lions versus the Packers. And I have the Lions winning here in their first playoff win since, 1993?
Yes, I believe so. I'll look it up for you.
It's going to be great for Dan Campbell and his squad because they've just been so great this year. I remember we were talking about the Dan Campbell hire, what the heck, this dude's either going to be the greatest coach we've ever seen or a complete bust, and he has shown out in his time in Detroit. This is amazing. Probably one of the top Coach of the Year candidates, if we're being honest, with what he did with the Lions. And, oh my gosh, this has just been an amazing year for them. Great job to the Lions. Let's see them keep going. I got the Lions moving.
Oh, shoot. They won in 1991.
30 years.
Okay.
It's been a bit. It's been a bit since they've been in the playoffs since 2016. So it's not that. I don't think they hosted that.
That must have been a
wild
wild card game.
Yeah, it was because they're going against the Seahawks. So they haven't hosted a playoff game in forever too. So that's awesome.
Who's next?
We have our 2 and 7 seed. Since everyone has gone first twice except for me. I'll take this one first again. I have the second seed Cowboys going against the 7th seed Seahawks. I have the Cowboys winning. The Cowboys are undefeated at home. I feel like that's going to stay the same right now, and they're just going to get it win. The Seahawks they've been interesting. They've been able to beat some really good teams. They've also lost to some really questionable teams this season. It's a great season for the Seahawks. You have questions at quarterback for next season, but other than that, this team is really solid. This defense is very good. Like, one of the best defenses I've seen the Seahawks create since, like, the Legion of Boom. Other than that, I think this Cowboys team is really solid. Dak has actually shown a lot of, I guess, like, development, which is crazy for a guy who's 30 to be showing development at this time. Other than that, I think that everything else is gonna have to go right for the Seahawks to win, but I think the Cowboys have it. So yeah, all right. So I believe all of you guys have Cowboys, but what's your other team that they're going against? So I'll go ahead with Josh.
Okay, so my matchup is the Cowboys versus the Rams. Now I could see this being a Rams victory with Stafford's playoff experience and the resurgence of Puka Nacua and Kyren Williams, or not resurgence, of the debut of them. But the Cowboys are at home, and the Cowboys are undefeated at home. So they're going to keep this undefeated streak and move on to the next one. Jack, what is your playoff matchup?
I have the Dallas Cowboys at home, like everyone else, going against the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know how this happened. A lot of stuff happened. I'm not going to get too much into it, but Packers, Seahawks, Saints, they all lost. Everyone took each other down, and the Vikings made it. So good for them.
3%.
3% chance. Now, let's just be real about the Vikings. They have no business being in a playoff game this season, like, at all. So I'm just going to say the Cowboys are going to probably just demolish them. Like, I bet it's going to get ugly really fast. I don't have any expectations for this Vikings team to be able to go into Dallas and win a playoff game. I don't even know how they got here, to be honest. They should be nowhere near the playoffs, but for whatever reason they are, so I'm going to pick the Cowboys, though. Oh, what's up?
Also, Josh, your matchup is actually a rematch from, I believe, like, years past the Rams-Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, it was Todd Gurley's.
Yeah, Todd Gurley.
It was at LA Coliseum, not at...
Yeah, also, Jack, is there a way that Kirk Cousins could come back for playoffs, or is he just, there's no way? The timetable doesn't work.
He tore his Achilles too late.
Oh, my goodness.
Maybe he tore it 2 weeks earlier.
Rodgers was doing pretty well at maybe coming back.
When did he tear? Like
week 1.
Yeah, well, it's whatever.
If he did the speed bridge, he could potentially make it back for the Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness, they're not making it there.
That means you have to somehow make it to the Super Bowl without him.
Alright, I was just asking if there's a scenario where Kirk Cousins does return, because if Cousins playing, hey, they might win.
All the Vikings have to do is win 3 playoff games without him, and then he can come back.
That ain't happening. They have to make it there, too. So, yeah. Alright, so now we're going to go to our divisional rounds. Ooh, I have actually a fun divisional round. Alright, so we're going to do, again, like last time, AFC, then NFC. So my first matchup is Bills-Chiefs. What do you guys have for your first matchup?
I have Bills-Chiefs.
My first matchup is Bills-Browns.
Bills-Browns? And then you me have Bills-Chiefs, Jack?
Yep.
Go ahead first.
Okay. I think this is the year, everyone. Year after year, Mahomes always seems to get the best of Allen when it counts. But this time, it's different. They're not in Arrowhead Stadium. There's no Tyreek Hill, no madness, no craziness. This Chiefs offense is mid at this point. They have a real shot. They have to go into Buffalo. For the first time, Mahomes is on the road. He can't hide behind Arrowhead anymore. He can't hide behind the home field advantage. He's coming into Buffalo, and he's going to have to try to steal one. And I don't think it's going to happen. This Bills team has been really hot since the Eagles shootout, like I said earlier. This is the year they finally do it. I don't think, even with the Bills' injuries early in the season to their defense, I don't think the Chiefs' offense is going to be able to capitalize on that. Kadarius Toney, MVS, they're just not doing good. The Bills can still defend the run with Pacheco, so as long as they're able to take care of Kelsey, I think they're going to have a good time. I think the Bills are going to do it. They're going to beat the Chiefs in Buffalo, and they're going to send themselves to the AFC Championship game.
All right, cool. I have the same thing too. Yeah, Mahomes. Oh, we could talk about Mahomes now. I hate how Mahomes is winning games, and when he loses games, he complains so much. It's been a bad season for him too. It's not just because of receivers. It's not just because Travis Kelce has regressed. The receivers have not been good either, which I'll give him that. But he still is not playing like a good quarterback. Like, he's playing fine, but for Mahomes standards, he's not playing like himself. So going against a white hot Bills team, and you've gotten their number a couple times, but this is, in my opinion, a completely different Bills team that the Chiefs have never really. They went against them last time in the dumb call, but Mahomes won't be having that dumb call happen. He's gonna actually have to really fight for this matchup, and I think the Bills are gonna win. Who knows? Josh Allen might win an OT game. Yeah. All right, Josh, you have a Browns matchup. Browns.
I got the Bills versus Browns, but I got the same thing. The Bills are going to win because they've just been white hot. And as much as Joe Flacco has been just an amazing player this year, which was not the thing that I would have bet on for the season, it's just been the Bills' year since the bye week. So I got them heading on to the AFC Championship in style.
All right. So now we have our Jack. I'm guessing yours is also Ravens Browns.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Cool. I'll go, and then Josh, what do you got? You got Dolphins
I
Browns.
have Ravens, Dolphins.
Okay. I'll go first. I got Ravens winning my Ravens Browns matchup. It's a good matchup. They're both division opponents. I just think that Joe Flacco, he's nice, but he's going against a team that literally he decided to become an elite quarterback on. So I think that hopefully the Ravens will be able to stop him. Harbaugh has seen what flaws Joe Flacco has, and he'll probably just use his flaws against him. So yeah, and also this Ravens team is like really good. They have two of the best linebackers, and that's really hard to do because the linebackers are really scarce. So having two of the best on a defense is really hard to get. So I believe that this Ravens team is just way better than a lot of teams out there right now. Jack, since you and me have the same matchup, you want to go next?
Yep. I think the Ravens are going to win. I'm just going to be honest. When I look at this Ravens team, I get it. The Flacco stuff is good. I think this is when the injuries catch up to them. For whatever reason, the Ravens defense seems to be elevating pass rushers, and people that we thought were not good anymore are becoming elite, like Jadeveon Clowney, who we thought was done, and now he's getting freaking incentive bonus for double-digit sacks. So while this pass rush doesn't have the fierce names, for whatever reason, they're getting to the quarterback. I think that's a mismatch they're going to be able to capitalize on. And while this has been a good run for the Browns, I think it ends here. The Ravens are just the best team in the AFC. They're the healthiest. They have the bye. They're going to be ready to go, and I think they're going to take care of business here.
Hey, Josh?
Okay, my matchup is the Ravens versus Dolphins. I think it's just going to be a repeat of what we saw in the regular season, which is the Ravens just wipe the floor with the Dolphins and leave no room for error and go to the AFC Championship.
All right, now we got the NFC matchups. Do you guys have the same, I guess, for your first matchup? I have Cowboys, the Eagles. What
I do
guys
too.
got?
I have Cowboys, Lions.
All right. Josh, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Josh.
Okay, so my prediction here is that Taylor Decker actually reports like he did last time, and the Lions beat the Cowboys for the first time in Dallas all year. And they move on to the conference championship.
All right, cool. Jack, you can go ahead next.
I'm going with the Cowboys here. I think Philadelphia is, whatever this is, I think their season is over. Dallas is undefeated at home. Philadelphia, I get it. They can beat up on some of the bad teams. I think they could even win a playoff game against the Bucs pretty easily. But ultimately, I think the Cowboys are going to come ready to play. I think the Eagles season ends here, meaning the Dallas Cowboys are going to an NFC championship game. I don't think that was going to ever happen, but it is happening now. Dallas, NFC championship.
Heck no, that ain't happening on my predictions. No, sir. No, I'm good. I'm choosing the Eagles over the Cowboys. Eagles just, every single time, I feel like the Eagles, I'm confident that they can make it out of the second round of the playoffs. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys can ever make it out of the second round of the playoffs. Last time they made a conference championship was like, what, in the 80s? Like, it was a long time ago.
Their
Was it
dynasty.
2009?
I thought. Wait, 2009? Like they haven't won a conference
Because it was
championship.
the Romo fumble kick return
Really?
or field goal.
What's the last? I'll look it up. Cowboys conference championship.
Was that a divisional round game?
I think that was a divisional. I know the Dez catch was.
Yeah.
No, it was the 90s. Yeah,
Oh,
the 90s
okay.
the last time they made it. So, I don't believe that they're gonna get out of the second round. So Eagles are gonna get out of there, with a win. I think it's gonna be a really BS win, but I think it's still gonna be a good win. So yeah. All right, our last matchup for the divisional round. I have Niners Rams. Who do you guys got?
I got Niners Rams as well.
I got Niners Eagles.
Ooh, that's a fun one. All right, so I'll take this one, I guess. Yeah, I have the Rams actually beating the Niners. I think this Niners team is good. I really do like this Niners team. CMC is dealing with a little bit of an injury. I think Stafford's really just gotten hot at the right time. This team is like really good all around. Puka Nacua is really good. Cooper Kupp should be getting back to wherever he was a couple seasons ago. Kyron Williams has been the unsung hero of this entire team. Cam Akers got benched, and I wasn't expecting Kyron to become was he RB3 in fantasy right now, and he's going crazy. So I think that's going to help them even more. They have such a dynamic defense that I think they could keep up with the Niners, and I feel like they're one of the only teams that actually can beat this Niners team. So I have the Rams beating the Niners. Jack, you go ahead.
I think I'm going to go with the opposite scenario. I'm going to say the Niners beat the Rams here. I think out of all the teams in the NFC conference so far, the Rams definitely feel like the most equipped team to beat the Niners. Everyone else that's run into them gets the crap beaten out of them. But the Rams, they fought hard in their game against the Niners. They had it close and it was one score. Ultimately, I think the one seed off the bye with a little rest, I think the Niners get it done and they're going to the NFC Championship game.
All right, Josh, what you had? What was
Niners Eagles. I think that the Niners are going to beat the Eagles here because they, like Jack said, they've just been world beaters this year. And the only team that's actually giving them trouble is the Ravens. So, besides that 3-game skid, they've been elite. So, giving the Niners going to the NFC Championship here.
All right, cool. Now we made it to our conference championship games. I believe we all have the same conference championship for the AFC side.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Ravens Bills, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's get into that matchup first. Josh, you can go ahead.
I think that the Bills' miracle run ends here. The Ravens are going to stop it dead in its tracks because, like you've said, they've elevated so many stars this year. Lamar's just been on a different level. He is definitely one of the front runners for the MVP this year, and he will be heading to the Super Bowl in Vegas. So, Zach, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I got Ravens too. I like this Ravens defense. I didn't talk about it too much in my first thing. They are one of the. I talked about their linebackers. Their secondary is really good. D-line, Jack said they're making stars out of people that shouldn't really be stars right now, like Jadeveon Clowney. Their offense is going wild. I still have questions about their wide receivers, but other than that, everyone else has really shown up lately, and I think that the Ravens are going to be in the Super Bowl. So that'll be interesting. All right, Jack.
I think the Ravens, I agree with you guys. I think out of all the years that the Ravens have been in the playoffs and the AFC, this is going to be, I think, one of the most open years the AFC is going to get. Herbert went down for the year. Burrow's down for the year. Obviously, you still have the good teams, but Mahomes, he looks weaker. Less pass catchers, weaker team this year. Jags look like a weaker team this year. Bills even look like a weaker team than years past. I think out of all the years, the Ravens are the healthiest team right now, and I think that's the reason they're going to come out on top in the AFC. They've been a well-oiled machine. Lamar, he had his playoff choke moments in the past, the Derrick Henry game against the Titans. I haven't forgotten about that, but I think he's a different player now. I think he's grown a lot since that year. That was a totally different team. I think the defense is better than it was that year, that 14-2 year. And I think that's going to be the difference. Lamar being a veteran pretty much now instead of a sophomore, and the Ravens' defense improving, I think that's going to take them out of the AFC this year. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Hey, if he isn't, then we'll just call him the Joel Embiid of quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying?
Legacy game.
Oh, this is actually a legacy playoff run, because if he doesn't show up, you know that we're just going to call him a playoff joker for the rest of his career.
There's no excuses. This will be the easiest it gets.
No, absolutely not. Like, this defense is like the best I've ever seen it, and it's one of the best I've ever even seen. So yeah. All right. So our matchups are. I think you guys have similar matchups. You both have. Do you have Lions, Josh? You have Lions, Niners, don't you? You have Lions, Niners. I have Rams, Eagles, and Jack, you have Cowboys, Niners.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we all have very different matchups. You know what, Jack? Go ahead.
I'm about to say something. This is probably a big mistake, and I'm probably gonna get bullied or whatever. In 2 weeks from now, it's gonna be, why did I just do this? But I'm gonna say it. I think the Dallas Cowboys are gonna go to the Super Bowl. And if the Niners shot 50 on them, my fault. But I think this could be the year that it looks a little different. I get it. They still have their defense wasn't as elite as it was starting out the year, but they still forced a lot of turnovers. And I get it. The Niners did beat the crap out of them, 42-10. But that was before Dak and CD were doing their thing. I think Dak and CD is an elite combo. I think they have the tools. I think they can go into San Francisco, and I think they're going to have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And this is probably a big mistake, and I'm probably going to regret this later, but I'm going to say it. The Dallas Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl.
Sorry, Dallas fans have already been way too toxic going to the...
No one wants this tape to happen.
Oh my god. Like, literally, we were just talking... I thought you were going to say Niners because the Cowboys suck on the road.
They do. Everything's against the Niners.
And they're home. I'm like, oh, okay. But no. All right. Josh, you want to go ahead or you want me to go?
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
So with the Niners versus the Lions, it's a great matchup. Detroit back in their first ever playoff series since 2016, and they make it all the way to the conference championship. Unfortunately, your Cinderella run does end here, and the Niners are going to Viva Las Vegas. Bang, bang, Niner gang. On to the Super Bowl to face the Ravens. Right.
Okay, I have the most interesting matchup, which is 5th seed Eagles going against the 6th seed Rams. I have the Rams winning it. I think this Rams team, again, like I said in my wild card stuff when we were talking about the wild card, this team is white hot, and I don't believe another team can stop this team except for the Niners. Other than that, I think this Eagles team is really solid, but I just think that it's just over. Like, they can't keep going. I think Jalen Hurts is going to actually have to go against a really good defense, which is the Rams, and I think that Rams are going to be back in the Super Bowl. All right. Hey, at least it's... Okay, I thought you were doing this. I was like, hey, it's better to say the Cowboys are making it.
No, I just had an itch right here.
Okay, cool. All right, so now our Super Bowl matchups. I have... Ooh, that's fun. Ravens, Rams. Josh, you have Niners, Ravens, and Jack, you have Cowboys, Ravens.
Yeah.
So, all right, well... I went already with last time, so Jack, you can go ahead.
All right. I'm not going to go any further on this Cowboys madness. They're not winning the Super Bowl. I think that ends here. The Baltimore Ravens are going to be crowned champions of the world. The Ravens...
Who do you think Super Bowl MVP?
Ooh, that's tricky.
Make a prediction on Super Bowl MVP too, whoever you guys have.
I'm going Lamar, but I think
that's bad.
Dark Horse, Roquan Smith forces a Tony Pollard fumble and creates a turnover with a sack, and he wins it on a defensive battle.
That's valid. All right, Josh, you next.
I gotta go with... So, I have the Ravens beating the Niners again, because if you look, they went into the Bay Area and beat the Niners at their home. What else can you do? This is a neutral site game in Las Vegas. So I have the Ravens winning here, and Lamar Jackson gets the Super Bowl MVP, along with another award that I'll give him whenever our awards prediction comes up. So give me the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson finally getting that playoff choker curse off of him. Zach?
Man, I got the Ravens winning it, so we're all sweeping on the Ravens. That's great. Yeah, I have maybe 3 people that could win it. I believe I think Kyle Hamilton is one. Well, my number one, obviously Lamar Jackson, quarterback makes sense. I think Kyle Hamilton and then Roquan Smith. Those are my 3 that I think could win it. I think Lamar will win it, but those are my 3. But I think that the Rams are just gonna Cinderella run ain't gonna make it this far. But it'll be nice to see it. I'd like to see this matchup. It's pretty cool. So I have the Ravens beating the Rams in the Super Bowl. So yeah, that does it for our stream today. You can clown us in the comments of this video if we get wrong. Clown Jack especially, because I already know that they're gonna be out. And hey, even the Ravens can get out. Honestly, like, we're saying this, but we've seen the Ravens choke in the playoffs before. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that does it for our video. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you want to keep hearing our voices and hearing about football. And yeah, Jack, hit the plugs.
As the usual, Frontline FB for the Instagram and the Twitter. Stuff will be going on there. We got one more stream today. We're going to do award predictions. And yeah, I think this is going to be a good playoff cycle, so stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on whenever the Cowboys inevitably lose in the divisional round and my prediction is destroyed. But yeah, feel free to clown me for picking the Cowboys to do that. That may have been a mistake, but we'll see. Everything's going to play out. And yeah, catch us here later for award predictions.